Monday the Dietitian, and welcome to Healthy Made Simple, where I show you how to make healthy eating simple. In this video, I will be sharing a chicken and vegetable stew that I put together using chicken breast, bell peppers, fresh tomatoes, white beans, and some leafy greens. And I stewed all of that together along with some onion and garlic, and then put that stew over some rice for a balanced meal all together. Now, I'll be honest, I don't like cooking with raw chicken too often. I get very anxious around salmonella, foodborne illnesses, and cross contamination. So, anytime I'm working with raw chicken, I'm constantly washing my hands with soap. I'm constantly making sure surfaces have been sanitized, that raw chicken get near anything. And it tends to be a little bit stressful for me. So I tend to avoid cooking with raw chicken, and you may have noticed I share a lot of pre-cooked chicken ideas on my channel, mainly because of that purpose, because I just don't like dealing with raw chicken. But at the same time, I also know that chicken is, of course, a lean source of protein, and it's an affordable option as well. I'm trying to be more budget friendly at home, and what we do with a chicken is we buy them from Costco, and it comes in, I believe, a 6-pack, and each pack has about 2 chicken breasts in there. And we just buy that from Costco. We put that in our freezer, and the packs just perforate out one at a time. So anytime we need to, we'll just take a pack out, defrost that, and use it. So for this meal, you'll see that I used a whole pack of chicken. It came with the 2 chicken breasts, along with all the vegetables that are going in there as well. So if you're like me, whether you don't like cooking with chicken, but want to incorporate more chicken into your diet, and you're looking for a way to do chicken breast without it being dry and bland, this is a great meal option because it gets stewed and all those veggies and of course the spices that I add in there. It's very flavorful and it's not dry at all. So this is a great option for, cooking something ahead, a stew that you're going to have in your fridge to be able to pull out and reheat and use throughout the week. So if you're interested, stay tuned for my chicken and veggie stew coming up. Let's go.
Alrighty, here's a preview of that chicken and veggie stew with lots of vegetables, lots of protein in there. I cannot wait to show you how I put this all together. Now, to start out with, I'm going to use these tricolored bell peppers, the red, orange, and yellow ones. I love using these anytime I'm cooking. They're high in vitamin C. They're packed with nutrients, so it's a great way of adding a nutrient boost to your dishes. So I'm just going to remove the flesh part of the bell peppers, remove the membranes that are inside. This is the same process I follow anytime I'm working with bell peppers, and I do like to cut them up into smaller pieces to add in because I like how they blend into the stew. So I'm going to dice them up into small pieces and create a nice big bowl of vegetables for me to be able to use for this dish. Feel free to make the pieces bigger if you prefer that, if you prefer a little bit more crunch, but I do like how these blend in when I cut them up into smaller pieces. And there we go. We're going to have a nice big bowl of bell peppers to use for this dish as one of our vegetable components. And then the next is going to be these tomatoes. Now, these are tomatoes on the vine. I get them from that box that they sell at Costco. And I just love how juicy and flavorful these tomatoes are. I typically will use some sort of a canned or jarred tomato sauce in my dishes, but I had these tomatoes at home and they just look so juicy and flavorful that I thought this would be a great component to the stew, and it was. And you can see how juicy these tomatoes were. I made sure to scoop up all of that juice into my bowl so that it can go into my stew to create more of a juiciness to it. All right, next up is my chicken breast. Now, I used a pack of the chicken breast from that 6-pack from Costco, and it does come with 2 chicken breasts, and I'm drying them up mainly because I do not like touching the sliminess of the chicken. And I'm also removing any little fatty pieces or stringy pieces that I'm seeing because I do not like chewing on that when I'm eating my chicken breast. And then I'm going to dice these up into really small pieces. Now, you can make these bigger pieces if you like, but I do like them this size for the stew because it just blends in so much nicer with the size of the vegetables in there. And that's right around the size you're going for. It's small, so it does take a little bit of time to get there. Feel free to make the chicken pieces bigger if that makes it easier on you to get all of these guys diced up. All right, so let's get to cooking. I'm going to start with my extra virgin olive oil from Trader Joe's. And I'm going to add a decent helping of olive oil to the bottom because this will be a big dish. And then I'm going to use the shortcut I always like to use and add in some diced onions. I love adding onions and garlic to my dishes, but I hate chopping them up, so I love using this shortcut. And I'm going to use about a half of this pack of the diced onions from Trader Joe's. They also sell diced onions frozen. If you don't have a Trader Joe's near you, check out the frozen aisle of your grocery store. And I'm going to cook those onions for about 1 to 2 minutes until they're right around translucent. And they've started getting, you can kind of smell that onion cooking. And then I'm going to add in 4 cubes of my crushed garlic. I see a lot of videos nowadays where people are making their own crushed garlic at home. If you have the power and the means to do that, good for you. Keep going. I'm probably going to be using this crushed garlic until I have a little bit more time to be chopping up my own garlic at home. Plus, I don't like how it makes my hands smell afterwards. So I like this as an option to be able to just throw garlic into any dish. And then I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter. And this is good old unsalted butter. And this is going to be the fat component of my dish that makes it that hearty stew. And there you go. There's the unsalted butter. I think this is just the one from Trader Joe's that I was using. And I'm going to let that butter melt into my onion and garlic mix. And that's really going to help bring more flavor to the dish as well. All right, and the next I'm going to go in with a half can of this small can of tomato paste from Trader Joe's, and that's going to help flavor my chicken, which is going to be going in next. So I'm going in with about half of the can, and this was a trick I used during my dietetic internship actually, to add in tomato paste like this to your butter and onion and garlic mix before you add in your protein to create a lot of flavor. So I'm going to mix that all together until right around there and then add in my diced chicken. And then I'm going to go in with my salt and pepper. I didn't get a video shot of my diced chicken going in because I was so nervous about cross-contamination. But there it is. There's the chicken and there goes my salt and pepper in there. And you'll see me salt and pepper along the way as I add each component to this dish to make sure it's flavorful. All right, so I'm going to cook my chicken for about 2 to 3 minutes until it doesn't look raw anymore. It's not going to be cooked all the way through just yet, but you see how it's that kind of more white color because it's cooked up. And then next I'm going to add in my diced bell peppers to start cooking those up a little bit. And as I mentioned before, anytime I'm adding in a component, I'm adding in salt and pepper as well. So I'm going to do salt and pepper. I do a couple rounds of my shakers for both salt and pepper. And I'm going to let the chicken and the bell peppers cook up together a little bit, mix all of that together. And this is where it kind of starts getting easier from this point forward with cooking this. In goes the diced tomatoes next. Make sure you get all the juices in there because that's going to make it stewy. And then salt and pepper, of course, along the way. And I know it looks like I'm adding a lot of salt and pepper, but it's really not. It's just a couple rounds of my shaker, so not too much if you're looking at the size of the whole dish. And then I go in with this everything seasoning. This is kind of one of my go-tos to really make my dishes flavorful. And then next goes the paprika. And the rest of the spices are very common spices that I think most people do have at home, like paprika, garlic powder is going in next as well. And anytime I'm adding in spices, my measure is put as much as you think you need and then top it off with some extra more. And then in goes the onion flakes. These are those dried onion flakes I get from Costco. So that, again, more flavor to the dish. Even though there's fresh onions in there, some dried onions add more flavor as well. Okay, mix all of that together until everything is mixed together nicely and all those spices are blended in throughout the dish. And then I'm going to cover and cook that for about 5 to 10 minutes. I want to make sure that chicken cooks through. In the meantime, I'm going to drain and rinse my white beans. These are organic Great Northern beans. And anytime I'm rinsing my beans, I make sure all of those bubbles that you see on there while you're rinsing it, make sure all of those bubbles are gone. So all that canning liquid is gone because that's where a lot of the salt typically lies. All right, let's add in the drained and rinsed white beans and mix that together. And once that's in there, I'm going to cook it for a couple more minutes just to make sure that the beans come to temperature as well. They're canned beans, so it's not like they need to cook, but just to bring them to temperature. And then next, I'm going to add in this cruciferous crunch collection, which has kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, green and red cabbage. I get this from Trader Joe's, but I think most grocery stores will have some sort of a similar mix that has dark leafy greens. And I'm going to add that as my last component. I didn't want to add that too early on because I don't want to lose too many of the nutrients from those leafy greens. So I add them right towards the end, and I'm going to add in about a third of the pack just to have it mixed in, but I don't want it to be too prominent in there, but I do want that nutrient boost coming from it. And again, salt and pepper. In it goes, and then that's only going to cook for maybe another 1 to 2 minutes just for them to soften up. If you feel like you really need to cook them down, you can cook it for longer, but to retain the nutrient value as much as possible, I do limit the cook time now to about 1 to 2 minutes covered. And then it'll be ready. So while that's finishing up, I'm going to heat up my rice. This is just plain old white rice that are actually leftovers from my mom that I'm going to be using for this dish. White rice and brown rice are not too different, so I don't mind having white rice every once in a while. Alrighty, and there is my stew all done and ready to go on top of my rice. This really came together beautifully. It was so delicious. It was really, everything was cooked from scratch for this one, and it was relatively simple to make. Just a little bit more time consuming, but overall very simple to make all together. And there's that delicious bite of veggies and chicken. And I did about a third of my bowl as rice, and then I just topped off the rest. About more than 2/3 of my bowl was this veggie and chicken stew mix to make sure I had a good balance between my carbs, my vegetables, and protein once everything came together. And there you go. There is that delicious bowl. And I actually had some of these leftovers. I ran out of rice. I had some of the leftovers with some pita bread and dipped that in there, and that was still really good. But there is that bite of my chicken and veggie stew all together, and along with the rice in there, you'll see the rice at the bottom kind of mixing in, and it all came together so nicely. It was so filling and delicious to have as an option for any night and any dinner.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped give you an idea of how you can use basic, simple ingredients such as chicken breasts, bell peppers, tomatoes, and beans, and some leafy greens to really put together a flavorful stew that's going to be meal prepped and meal planned ahead of time to have as an option in your fridge throughout the week. And all you have to do is just warm it up, maybe along with some rice, or you could probably put this over pasta too, and I bet you it would still taste pretty good, and it would create a complete meal altogether. Thank you so much for watching Healthy Made Simple. If you haven't already done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow my channel for more ideas for meals and snacks that are simple, healthy ways of preparing food for yourself and your family to make better and healthier choices. Thank you again for staying tuned, and be on the lookout for my future videos. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.